What if the real reason Las Vegas is hemorrhaging tourists isn't crime or a lousy show, but a plague of predatory fees? I'm not talking about some minor surcharge you can ignore. I'm talking about a relentless, calculated assault of charges designed to bleed you dry until you swear you'll never return. Picture this. You arrive in Sin City, sold on the dream of a $100 room, a cheap meal, and a calm drink, only to get ambushed by $50 parking, $60 resort fees, and $20 cocktails. The illusion shatters instantly. Today, we're exposing the 9 fees that are systematically gutting Las Vegas and revealing the grim truth behind why the Strip is becoming a ghost town. Kicking things off at number 9. Resort fees, the mandatory non-negotiable scam that opened the floodgates. If a single charge transformed Vegas from a bargain paradise into a cynical tourist trap, it's the notorious resort fee. There was a time Vegas built its empire on $29 rooms and the promise of perks. But then, corporate casino overlords figured out that deception was far more profitable than discounts. Now, virtually every hotel on the Strip slaps you with a nightly fee, typically ranging from a staggering $35 to $50 per night. And that's plus tax, which is conveniently left out of the advertised price. You book that $99 room and surprise, your bill has already swelled to $160 before you've even dropped your bags. And what exactly does this fraudulent resort charge get you? Wi-Fi that crawls, access to a gym you had no intention of using, and if you're lucky, a bottle of water. It's nothing short of legalized theft, sanctioned right on the Strip. The Federal Trade Commission even confirmed it. These resort fees are now funneling hundreds of millions in pure profit to Vegas hotels every year. But as Wall Street pops the champagne, visitors are left feeling utterly betrayed. And that's not even the worst part. The families and middle-class travelers who were the very lifeblood of Las Vegas for decades, they're vanishing. A bachelor party from Canada went viral last year for canceling their entire trip, declaring, "We'll just go to Mexico. At least their prices are honest." Be warned, that outrage is spreading like wildfire. UNLV tourism data is sounding the alarm, showing mid-tier casinos in a double-digit occupancy freefall since 2023. And every analyst points a finger at this rampant fee fatigue. Make no mistake, these fees don't just gouge tourists, they're poisoning the entire city. Empty rooms lead to empty casino floors, empty restaurants, and empty pockets for the service workers. It's a catastrophic domino effect. By the time visitors discover their $99 fantasy vacation actually costs double, the magic is dead. And believe me, that's only the first shakedown on our list. Because if you think resort fees are outrageous, just wait until you see the basic necessities that Vegas has decided to monetize. These are the fees that are making even the most dedicated gamblers ask if Sin City has finally lost its soul. Number 8, parking fees. Now you have to pay just for the privilege of losing your money. For decades, Las Vegas casinos operated on a simple, brilliant premise: free parking. The logic was foolproof. Why would you charge someone to park their car when the real prize was getting them inside to the slots? But in 2016, that sacred pact with the customer was shattered. MGM Resorts led the shameless charge, declaring that parking, yes, parking your car in a 10-story concrete box in the desert, would now cost you $15 to $25 a day, depending on which property was fleecing you. Caesars and the rest of the pack fell in line immediately. The public outcry was deafening. Locals swore off the Strip for good, and tourists felt they were being robbed before they even walked in the door. But the casinos didn't listen. The fees stuck, and they got worse. Now parking can soar to $30 or even $50 on a busy night. We're talking rates that compete with downtown Los Angeles or Manhattan. And here is the ultimate insult. In most of these casinos, your parking isn't covered, even if you lose hundreds at their tables. Why is this so critical? Because Las Vegas is not New York City. People drive there. It's a city built for road trippers from California, for locals coming from Henderson and Summerlin, for visitors driving in from Arizona and Utah. These are the people getting punished the most. The Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority's own data shows a sharp decline in regional drive-in visitors since 2019, with surveys screaming that these added costs are a primary reason. In other words, Vegas is actively driving away the very customers who used to be its reliable midweek moneymakers. Just think about that. A couple drives 4 hours from Los Angeles to Vegas, fully expecting to spend their money on entertainment, not on a $40 garage fee that does nothing but breed resentment. And resentment is a poison in a city that was built on the illusion of a generous welcome. The casinos don't even hide it. They admit it's not about convenience. It's pure, unadulterated revenue generation. Get this, MGM is raking in over $100 million a year just from parking fees. But for every dollar they pocket, they're bleeding out the loyalty that built this town. It's no surprise that locals are abandoning the Strip for casinos that haven't forgotten them. And tourists are looking at places like Laughlin or Reno, where parking isn't treated like a weapon aimed at your wallet. But believe me, if you think getting gouged for parking is a slap in the face, you better brace yourself for the hidden charges that infest your bill like a plague. These fees hit you even if you don't have a car, even if you're just a prisoner in your own hotel. Which brings us to number 7, the so-called concession and convenience fees. A silent assassin for your vacation budget. Just picture it. You grab a simple burger and fries, and then the check arrives. And there it is, some phantom charge labeled a concession recovery fee or service charge. And the kicker? This happens even at a fast food joint where you were your own waiter. This isn't some bad dream. It's the cold, hard reality of the new Las Vegas. We're talking restaurants, bars, even your morning coffee stop, all secretly tacking on an extra 4 to 8% to your bill, with zero legitimate explanation. And here's the truly infuriating part. That money isn't a tip for the hardworking staff, and it's not a tax going back to the city. Nope, it's 100% pure, unadulterated profit for the corporation, buried so deep in the fine print of your receipt that most people either miss it or are too intimidated to challenge it. Don't just take my word for it. A 2024 survey by the Las Vegas Review-Journal found that over 60% of tourists felt completely baffled or straight up deceived by these surprise charges. So why is this such a big deal? Because it's a betrayal of what Las Vegas once stood for. This used to be a town of transparent indulgence, where your $1.99 shrimp cocktail was exactly that, $1.99. Now, every single purchase, a sandwich, a soda, a cocktail, feels like a sleazy bait and switch. You think you're spending $20 on lunch, but by the time they're done with you, it's suddenly $27 thanks to their bogus fees and jacked up taxes. Now multiply that by 3 meals a day for a family of 4 over a 4-day vacation, and you've been bled for hundreds of dollars you never even planned to spend. And this plague isn't just confined to food. These parasitic fees are crawling all over show tickets, nightclub entry, and even pool parties. You see a $75 ticket online, but just wait until you get to the checkout page. Suddenly, it's $115, bloated with so-called processing, facility, and service fees. It's gotten so bad that even buying a bottle of water can hit you with a processing charge if you dare to use a card instead of cash. The fallout from this corporate greed is absolutely devastating for the city's reputation. Just look at social media. It's a dumpster fire of viral rants from disgusted visitors. The new slogan is, Vegas is a scam. TikTok is flooded with people posting their ridiculous receipts, warning everyone they know to stay far, far away. The city's greatest asset, word of mouth, is becoming a toxic liability. And here's the most insidious part. These endless little fees are psychologically more damaging than one large, honest price. You feel constantly attacked, nickeled and dimed with every single transaction. It systematically destroys any trust you might have had. The economists have a sterile term for it: friction cost fatigue. Which is just a fancy way of saying that when you constantly get cheated in small ways, you eventually just walk away from the whole rigged game. So if just buying a soda makes you feel like you've been robbed, What do you think happens when you find out that gambling itself, the very heart and soul of Las Vegas, is now loaded with its own hidden penalties? That brings us to number 6, the outrageous ATM and cash access fees. They're literally making you pay for the privilege of spending your own money. Imagine the scene. You're on a hot streak at the blackjack table, up a couple $100, feeling on top of the world, and you decide to press your luck. You walk over to the casino's ATM, and BAM, you're ambushed with an $8.99 or even a $10.99 fee. And that's just for the right to access your own cash. It doesn't even include what your own bank is going to charge you. In today's Las Vegas, withdrawing $200 can cost you a staggering $15 to $20 in total fees. To put that in perspective, the national average ATM fee is less than $5 according to Bankrate. Las Vegas casinos have more than doubled that. Some have even tripled it. And you have to ask yourself, why? It's simple. They know you're a captive audience. When the gambling fever hits and you're desperate to stay in the action, you'll swallow that fee. But what used to feel like a minor convenience charge now feels like straight-up highway robbery. Oh, but the fleecing doesn't stop there. Thinking about a cash advance on your credit card? Prepare to be brutalized with fees well over $100 for a single transaction. Even the check cashing cages have been stealthily jacking up their rates. The irony is just staggering. Las Vegas, a city whose entire existence is based on encouraging you to spend, is now punishing you just for trying to get to the money you intend to give them. And this greed has consequences that ripple through the whole system. Tourists aren't stupid. After getting burned once or twice at an ATM, they learn their lesson fast. They either stop gambling altogether or they take their money and find cheaper entertainment off the strip. And what does that lead to? Less money for the casinos, fewer drinks being sold, and smaller tips for the already struggling service staff. The locals, for their part, are fighting back, plastering warnings all over Reddit and TikTok for any visitor who will listen. You'd better bring a wad of cash or you'll get fleeced by the ATMs. And this isn't just a hunch. Official data from the Nevada Gaming Control Board proves that casino profits per visitor have flatlined while fees skyrocket. Which screams that tourists are shutting their wallets once they see how much of their money is siphoned off before they even place a bet. And here's the truly twisted part. Those ATMs are deliberately planted on every corner, glowing like toxic green mirages. But instead of being a source of relief, they've become monuments to just how predatory Vegas has become in bleeding its visitors dry. If using a machine to access your own money feels like a stick-up, you haven't seen anything yet. Just wait for the phantom fees that stalk you long after you've left your hotel. Ambush charges that materialize on your statement days later. Number 5. The hidden hotel charges, a financial ghost that haunts you post-checkout. For decades, Vegas peddled this illusion of an affordable getaway, $39 rooms, dazzling lights, and non-stop fun. But that era is dead and buried. Now, countless visitors flee the strip with a gut punch of a surprise. Outrageous post-checkout charges they were never warned about. We're talking about bogus minibar restocking fees, penalties for checking in early or out late, and even so-called energy sustainability fees buried deep in the fine print. Consider the minibar trap. At certain strip hotels, merely picking up a can of soda from its sensor-rigged fridge, even if you put it right back, can slap you with an automatic $15 to $20 charge. And good luck noticing it until it hits your credit card statement days later. Dared to check in before 3 p.m.? That'll be another $25 to $75 for an early check-in penalty. Need an extra hour before you leave? It's the same shakedown, just in reverse. Another line item added to your bill. And then you have the completely baffling mystery charges that leave even veteran travelers scratching their heads. A viral TikTok recently exposed the tourist being hit with a $4 linen recovery fee, even though they never asked for a single extra towel. Others are reporting surprise room delivery fees for food they ordered, even when they went downstairs to pick it up themselves. And why should you care? Because trust is supposed to be the bedrock of hospitality. When you make guests feel like they've been conned, they don't return. It's no surprise that a 2024 J.D. Power survey places Las Vegas hotels at the rock bottom of nationwide guest satisfaction. And what's the number one grievance? These deceptive hidden charges. This widespread disgust is directly causing fewer return visits and shorter, more cautious trips. And this isn't just turning off tourists. Even locals who used to enjoy staycations on the Strip now shun it completely, pointing to the labyrinth of fine print and gotcha fees. Consequently, off-strip hotels, Airbnb rentals, and even cabins in Lake Tahoe are snatching up these infuriated travelers who are simply begging for an honest bill. The grim result? Vegas is cannibalizing itself. The very nickel and dime tactics designed to wring out a few extra bucks are chasing away the city's long-term financial lifeblood. As one former casino executive confessed in a startling interview, "We sacrificed loyalty for the sake of line items. And if the hotel bills are leaving you with a bitter taste, brace yourself for how Vegas has butchered its food and drink scene, turning what were once the city's greatest deals into a war zone of insane markups and fees." Number 4, the great food and beverage heist. Or how cheap eats became an unaffordable luxury. There was a time, a bygone era, when Las Vegas built its entire legend on incredible deals. The 99-cent shrimp cocktail, the $4.99 prime rib special, the all-you-can-eat buffet for less than $10. These weren't just meals. They were brilliant marketing. Casinos were thrilled to take a loss on cheap food because they knew it kept you on the property, playing and spending. But that Las Vegas is gone, and what has risen in its place is utterly appalling, even to the most seasoned Vegas veterans. Today, good luck finding a buffet for under $40 a head on the Strip. A simple breakfast, 2 eggs, bacon, toast, and coffee can easily set you back $28 before you even think about a tip. And a cocktail? Don't even think about paying less than $18 to $22 a pop at most casino bars. Even bottled water, which they used to hand out for free to keep you gambling, is now gouging you for $7 to $10 a bottle. So what happened? Corporate greed. As soon as Wall Street suits and private equity firms seized control of Strip properties, they completely upended the business model. Instead of enticing guests with affordable food and drinks, they now view every single restaurant, bar, and even the smallest kiosk as a machine for extracting maximum profit. The outcome? Sure, their profit margins are fatter, but the soul of the experience has been gutted, and the public outrage is exploding. TikTok is filled with videos of $45 hamburgers under captions like, "Vegas is mugging us in broad daylight." Reddit is now a minefield of warnings for first-timers, telling them to budget at least double what they'd ever imagine for food. And Yelp reviews for Strip restaurants are a tidal wave of complaints about mandatory concession recovery fees and weak, overpriced cocktails. From an economic standpoint, this is an act of self-sabotage, completely demolishing the identity of Las Vegas. It's a bitter irony that this city once bragged about being the value capital of American entertainment. Now, experts at UNLV's own hospitality school are sounding the alarm. The average tourist is fleeing to regional casinos in places like Oklahoma, Florida, and even humbler Nevada towns like Laughlin, where you can still get food and drinks without taking out a second mortgage. And this is where their greedy strategy backfires spectacularly. When you make people feel like suckers for buying a beer, they stop spending on everything else. Suddenly, gamblers are clock watching at the tables. Families are balking at show prices. Couples are ditching those once-in-a-lifetime excursions. Vegas might snatch an extra $20 for a burger, but they're hemorrhaging $200 in lost gaming revenue because of it. It's just as one industry insider warned, Vegas forgot that a cheap $5 buffet was an investment, not a cost. It kept the customers happy, and a happy customer is a gambling customer. But believe me, if you think the burger prices were a slap in the face, just wait until you see the predatory fees that stalk you from the casino floor right into the showroom, nightclubs, and the very entertainment you came for. Coming in at number 3, Ticket and entertainment fees, the shameless fun tax designed to bleed the magic dry. Remember when Vegas promised world-class entertainment that wouldn't break the bank? When lounge acts were actually free, show tickets were reasonable, and you couldn't escape the live music spilling out of every casino. Well, today, the show might be spectacular, but the final bill is a complete farce. It all starts the moment you go online. You spot a ticket for $89 for a Cirque du Soleil show, or a big name like Adele. But by the time you reach the checkout, that price is magically inflated to $135 or even more, thanks to an absurd ambush of processing fees, facility charges, and so-called convenience fees. Oh, you want to print your own ticket on your own paper with your own ink? That'll be an extra $5, please. You'd rather pick it up at will call? That's another service charge. And this shakedown happens before you've even set foot in the venue. Now, many places are hitting you with mandatory drink minimums, forcing $20 cocktails on you on top of the ticket you already overpaid for. And if you think that's bad, at the pool parties and nightclubs, the gouging becomes downright predatory. A $50 cover charge can easily swell to $90 after they've tacked on their mystery fees and taxes. Plus a mandatory tip before a server has even looked in your direction. And why should you be outraged by this? Because entertainment is supposed to be the very soul of Las Vegas. People come here and budget for a great show, but when the final price nearly doubles because of these deceptive charges, they don't just feel disappointed, they feel conned. A 2024 survey from the American Gaming Association is damning proof. A staggering 57% of Vegas visitors admitted they were forced to skip at least one show or event they had planned to see specifically because of these outrageous, unexpected fees. That translates directly to fewer tickets sold, fewer drinks bought, and a tangible loss of the vibrant energy that's supposed to define the Strip. The collateral damage here is absolutely brutal. And it's the smaller productions, the magic acts, the comedy clubs, the off-strip concerts that are getting crushed. Patrons get burned by the insane fees for the big-name shows and become too scared to risk their money on anything smaller. The local performers, the very heart and soul of Vegas nightlife, are being systematically choked out by a greedy system engineered for one thing and one thing only: corporate profit. But Vegas isn't just losing a single ticket sale. It's losing a customer for life. But this financial bloodletting isn't just confined to the showrooms. The next fee we have to warn you about is so unbelievably brazen, it attacks you while you're gambling, the very activity that built this entire city. Number 2. Gaming fees and slashed payouts. We're calling this one the rigged table trick. For decades, Las Vegas built its name by promising gamblers the fairest odds in the country. You could pull up a chair at a blackjack table, get a free drink, and trust that you were getting a legitimate shot to win. But now, even the games themselves are secretly loaded with hidden costs. And it's causing loyal, regular players to abandon the city in droves. Take the classic game of blackjack. Traditionally, a natural blackjack paid 3 to 2. You bet $20, you won $30. Simple and fair. But now, up and down the Strip, casinos have quietly, deceptively switched to a 6 to 5 payout. That means your same $20 blackjack now only nets you a pathetic $24. Over a session, this seemingly small change jacks up the house advantage by nearly 2%. A colossal, game-changing swing in the casino's favor. To the casual tourist, it might seem like a minor detail, but for anyone who actually sits and plays for a while, it's nothing less than an undeclared tax on every single hand you play. And then you have the audacity of table game fees. At certain casinos, their electronic blackjack and roulette machines will literally charge you a per-hand fee, nickel and diming you for $1 or $2 just for the privilege of placing a bet. It's the equivalent of paying a cover charge every single time you're dealt a hand. Even the poker rooms have quietly jacked up the rake, the house is cut from every pot, making it nearly impossible for a casual player to walk away a winner. Even the slot machines, once a gambler's last hope for a decent payout, have been ruthlessly tightened. And that's not just a feeling, it's a fact, according to the Nevada Gaming Control Board. On the Strip, those machines are now set to return a pathetic 85 to 88%, among the absolute worst odds in the state. Just compare that to the off-strip casinos for locals, where the slots actually pay out closer to 93 to 95%. It's no surprise tourists are finally waking up and realizing they get a far better shake in smaller towns like Laughlin or Reno. And don't even get me started on the drink service. Once upon a time, the free cocktails were practically endless while you gambled. Now they're policing you with voucher systems and drink monitoring lights. Let me translate that for you. If you're not losing money fast enough, that supposedly free margarita is a fantasy. What was once the quintessential Vegas perk has been twisted into yet another mechanism to bleed the customer dry. The result? Gamblers feel completely and utterly ripped off. Go look at forums like the Vegas message board or the countless Reddit threads. They're filled with infuriated longtime visitors swearing they'll never return to the Strip. It's just not fun when you know the entire game is rigged against you more than ever before. And when gambling itself, the very heart of Vegas's identity, feels like a calculated scam, people just stop coming. But there's one more fee to discuss, and it's the one that perfectly symbolizes why Vegas feels so hollowed out. This isn't just about your wallet. This is about betrayal. Number 1, the Vegas Premium, a death by 1,000 cuts. At the very top of this disgraceful list isn't one single charge, but an entire culture of predatory fees that has mutated Las Vegas from a playground of generosity into a cold, calculating machine of extraction. The economists call it drip pricing. The tourists who get fleeced call it the Vegas Premium, and it is systematically gutting the city's soul. Here's the playbook. You book a room for $99, but after they pile on the resort fees, parking, and taxes, it's suddenly $180. You decide on lunch for 2, advertised at $40, but with their bogus concession charges and inflated tips, it's $60 before you know it. You buy show tickets at $100 each, but by checkout, they've mysteriously become $150 a piece. Even your blackjack winnings are shrinking, thanks to those rigged 6 to 5 payouts. At every single stage of your trip, Vegas grabs a little more than you were told, until the entire experience feels like a slow, agonizing death by 1,000 cuts. The numbers tell the whole sordid story. According to a damning 2024 study from the UNLV Hospitality School, visitor satisfaction on the Strip has cratered by 22% in just 5 years, with hidden fees named as the #1 complaint. And the consequences are playing out on the streets. Foot traffic on the Strip is down. Mid-tier casinos are admitting to declining occupancy, while regional competitors, from tribal casinos in California to Gulf Coast spots like Biloxi, are happily welcoming the disillusioned travelers Vegas has scared away. What makes this so devastating isn't just the money they're taking from you, it's the profound sense of a broken promise. Vegas used to be the one place where the little guy could feel like a king. The free drinks, the cheap food, the transparent games, it all created this powerful illusion of generosity that kept people coming back for more. Now tourists leave with a single bitter memory burned into their minds. We got scammed. And when a city built entirely on its reputation starts to lose the trust of its people, a chilling emptiness follows. You see it in the empty tables, the empty theaters, and the empty sidewalks where the neon still burns bright, but all the magic is gone. So yes, the single biggest fee killing Las Vegas is the Vegas Premium itself, that unspoken tax for being nickel and dimed at every conceivable turn. Until that changes, Sin City's biggest gamble isn't on the roulette wheel anymore. It's on whether its betrayed visitors will ever come back. Las Vegas didn't just collapse overnight. It bled itself dry, one greedy fee at a time. If you've been burned by these charges, you need to drop your story in the comments. I want to hear all of it. And if you found this infuriatingly eye-opening, you better hit subscribe because the next video might just reveal where everyone who's had enough is going instead.